And I think the script is about 90 pages long, 92 pages long. And I remember putting it down and just sitting back for about 45 minutes. I was stunned. I was really stunned. And I thought I'd never read anything like it. And
70 takes, 80 takes, 100 takes were absolutely regular with Stan.
You know, you feel frustrated at times playing a character like that for so long.
Tom Cruise has revealed what most fans never figured out about this scene, the one that cost a legendary director his life and changed Hollywood forever, a 400-day shoot that became psychological warfare, and a final cut so dangerous that the director who made it was dead within a week.
Then he dies like 4 days later.
Oh, Jesus.
So somebody went in and finished the movie.
Stanley Kubrick didn't just break Tom Cruise down with endless retakes. He was preparing him for something much darker, showing him exactly how Hollywood's real power structure operates. But the version that reached theaters wasn't the movie Kubrick died for.
They hid the film. The movie got changed into something else.
So let's get into it. In 1996, Tom Cruise was untouchable. Mission Impossible had shattered box office records. Jerry Maguire proved he could act, and every studio in Hollywood was throwing money at him. Then Stanley Kubrick sent him a fax.
I was informed that he wanted Nicole and I in the movie.
The meeting was surreal. Cruise flew to Kubrick's estate in a helicopter, landing in the director's backyard like some kind of movie star fever dream. But what Kubrick handed him wasn't your typical Hollywood script.
I think the script is about 90 pages long, 92 pages long. And I remember putting it down and just sitting back for about 45 minutes. I was stunned. I was really stunned. And I thought I'd never read anything like it.
45 minutes of stunned silence. This wasn't the Tom Cruise who could speed read scripts and make instant decisions. This was different. Based on Arthur Schnitzler's 1926 novella Dream Story, the script explored obsession, elite secret societies, and psychological manipulation in ways that made even seasoned Hollywood veterans uncomfortable. The story followed Dr. Bill Harford, a successful Manhattan physician whose comfortable world shatters when his wife confesses to fantasizing about cheating on him. What starts as marital jealousy spirals into a nightmarish journey through New York's underground elite, culminating in a masked orgy sequence that would become one of cinema's most controversial scenes. But Cruise didn't know he was signing up for more than just a challenging role. He was about to become the central figure in what would become the longest continuous film shoot in Hollywood history, and possibly the most psychologically damaging.
We told him right at the beginning, whatever it takes, and I worked every single day.
Whatever it takes. Those 3 words would haunt Cruise for the next 400 days, because Kubrick took them literally. The production that was supposed to last 6 months stretched into over a year. Kubrick's perfectionism wasn't just about getting the right shot. It was about breaking down his actors psychologically until they gave him something real, something raw, something that came from a place of genuine emotional exhaustion. Industry insiders whispered that Kubrick was deliberately trying to destroy Cruise's movie star persona. The confident, charismatic leading man who could charm audiences and executives alike was being systematically dismantled, scene by scene, take by take. One scene of Cruise simply walking through a door required 95 takes. Not because he was doing it wrong, but because Kubrick was searching for something deeper. Each take chipped away at Cruise's confidence, his certainty, his carefully constructed public image. The cast and crew watched as Hollywood's most bankable star slowly came apart. Nicole Kidman later revealed that while she rarely had to endure such treatment, Cruise was Kubrick's primary target. The director seemed intent on accessing something in Cruise that the actor himself didn't know existed.
You know, you feel frustrated at times playing a character like that for so long.
The frustration wasn't just about the endless retakes. It was about what Kubrick was asking him to access emotionally. Dr. Bill Harford wasn't a hero or an action star. He was a man whose entire worldview was crumbling, who discovered that his privileged life was built on illusions. Some conspiracy theories reveal that Kubrick was using the character of Dr. Harford to show Cruise something about his own position in Hollywood's power structure. The internet went crazy saying that the movie wasn't just about fictional elite societies, movies, it was a mirror held up to the real entertainment industry. Even though nothing is proven, all evidence suggests that Kubrick knew exactly what he was doing when he chose Tom Cruise for this particular role. The biggest movie star in the world, playing a man who discovers he's powerless against forces he never knew existed.
Stanley, look, I don't care how long it takes, but I have to know, are we gonna finish in 6 months?
By month 8, Tom Cruise was begging for answers. His production company was hemorrhaging money. Scripts were piling up. Mission Impossible 2 was being delayed, but Kubrick just laughed. The Eyes Wide Shut production holds the Guinness World Record for the longest continuous film shoot in history. 400 days of principal photography spread across 15 months. What was originally planned as a 6-month project became a psychological endurance test that broke cast, crew, and nearly broke Hollywood's biggest star. The numbers alone tell the story of systematic psychological warfare. Tom Cruise worked every single day except for a handful of breaks. One scene required 95 takes. Another simple dialogue exchange took 80 attempts. Actress Vanessa Shaw, contracted for 2 weeks in one scene, ended up staying for 2 months because of the endless retakes. The physical toll was devastating. Cruise developed an ulcer but didn't tell Kubrick. He knew the director would see it as weakness. The crew became demoralized and exhausted. Some industry observers noted that Kubrick seemed to be deliberately breaking everyone down, creating an atmosphere of real psychological distress that he could capture on film. Harvey Keitel, originally cast in Sidney Pollack's role, walked off the production after 68 takes of walking through a door. He literally told Kubrick he was crazy and left. But Cruise stayed, trapped by his own professionalism and contractual obligations. The psychological pressure was relentless. Kubrick would isolate Cruise from Kidman during filming, forbidding them from discussing scenes. When Kidman filmed her fantasy sequence with another actor, Cruise was banned from the set entirely. The director spent 6 days filming a 1-minute scene, deliberately keeping Cruise in the dark about what was happening. Lots of fans think that Kubrick was using these techniques not just for artistic purposes, but to show Cruise how powerless even the biggest stars really are when faced with true directorial authority. The man who could command $20 million per film was reduced to begging for information about his own schedule.
At times that we couldn't get it, you know what I mean? It was just like...
We couldn't get it. This phrase haunted Cruise throughout the production, but industry insiders began to suspect that Kubrick always got it on the first few takes. The endless repetitions served a different purpose. They were about control, domination, and psychological manipulation. The extended shoot gave conspiracy theorists plenty of material. Some believe Kubrick was conducting a real-time experiment in mind control, using the production to demonstrate how easily even powerful individuals can be broken down and rebuilt. Others suggest the director was showing Cruise the reality of his position in Hollywood's power structure, that despite his fame and wealth, he was still just an employee who could be controlled and manipulated by those with real power. The most disturbing theory emerged years later, that Kubrick had deliberately designed the production to be a form of initiation or warning. By putting Cruise through psychological hell for 400 days, he was either preparing him for what he would discover about Hollywood's elite circles, or showing him what would happen if he ever tried to expose them. Even though nothing is proven, all evidence points towards the fact that no director keeps a major star for 400 days unless they're trying to accomplish something beyond making a movie. The internet went crazy saying that Eyes Wide Shut wasn't just a film about secret societies. It was Kubrick's way of demonstrating how those societies actually operate, using psychological pressure and control to maintain power over their subjects. By the end of the shoot, Cruise was a different person. The confident movie star who had helicoptered onto Kubrick's property was gone, replaced by someone who had been systematically broken down and rebuilt according to Kubrick's vision.
The last day of shooting, a day that I, had both looked forward to and dreaded.
June 17, 1998. After 400 days of psychological warfare disguised as filmmaking, Tom Cruise finally walked away from the most challenging experience of his career. But what he discovered during those final weeks would haunt him forever. The orgy sequence at Somerton Mansion wasn't just the climax of the film, it was Kubrick's masterpiece of hidden meaning and elite symbolism. Shot over multiple weeks with obsessive attention to detail, every mask, every gesture, every ritualistic movement was carefully designed to mirror something much more sinister. The scene depicts Dr. Bill Harford infiltrating a secret society ritual, where masked figures engage in ceremonial activities that blend religious symbolism with power dynamics. But lots of fans think that what Kubrick captured wasn't fiction. It was a documentary disguised as drama. The masks themselves tell the story. Each one was individually crafted, featuring occult symbols, ancient religious imagery, and references to secret societies that have operated in the shadows for centuries. The pyramid symbolism, the all-seeing eye motifs, the carefully orchestrated ritualistic movements, every detail was designed to look familiar to those who knew where to look.
It's missing a narration. It's missing a third-person narration that was originally in the movie.
Even more disturbing were the elements that didn't make it into the final cut. Director Roger Avery, who studied Kubrick extensively, claims the original version contained crucial narration that would have made the elite connections explicit. Some conspiracy theories reveal that this narration directly named real figures and organizations, making the film too dangerous to release in its original form. The conspiracy deepens when you examine who attended the actual filming. The orgy scenes were shot on a closed set with minimal crew. Security was unprecedented for a Hollywood production. No outsiders were allowed, no media access was granted, and cast members were forbidden from discussing what they witnessed. Industry insiders whispered about real elite figures who allegedly visited the set during filming. Some believe Kubrick was granted access to actual ritual footage or insider knowledge that he incorporated into the movie. Others suggest that powerful individuals wanted to ensure the film's content stayed within acceptable boundaries. The internet went crazy, saying that the Somerton sequence wasn't just inspired by real elite gatherings, it was a recreation of them. The attention to ritual detail, the authentic-looking ceremonial elements, the way the power dynamics played out, it all felt too real to be purely fictional. But the most chilling theory involves what happened during post-production. According to those close to the film, Kubrick spent months adding layers of meaning to the Somerton sequence. Hidden symbols in the background, subliminal imagery, audio cues that referenced real organizations and events. The theory suggests that Kubrick was creating multiple levels of the film, the surface story that general audiences would see, and a deeper layer that would be recognizable to insiders. The orgy sequence was designed to serve as both entertainment and warning, showing how elite power structures operate while giving those structures plausible deniability. Even though nothing is proven, all evidence suggests that the Somerton Mansion scenes contained information that certain powerful individuals found threatening. The symbolism was too accurate, the ritual details too authentic, the power dynamics too revealing. Some conspiracy theories reveal that Kubrick was playing a dangerous game, using his artistic reputation and Hollywood connections to expose real elite practices. The 400-day shoot gave him unprecedented time to research and incorporate authentic details that would have been impossible to include in a normal production schedule. The final version that reached theaters had been sanitized, but even the edited version contained enough authentic detail to make certain people very nervous. The fact that Kubrick died just days after completing the final cut adds weight to theories that he had crossed lines that powerful individuals considered unacceptable. March 7th, 1999. Stanley Kubrick screened his final cut of Eyes Wide Shut for Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman, and Warner Bros. Executives. The reaction in that screening room was reportedly one of stunned silence. 6 days later, the legendary director was dead. The official cause was a heart attack in his sleep. Natural causes for a 70-year-old man who had just completed the most stressful project of his career. But the timing raised questions that have never been adequately answered, and lots of fans think that what Kubrick revealed in that final cut was too dangerous for certain people to allow into public consciousness.
There were people who were outside of the theater who could hear inside of the theater Kubrick yelling at all the executives and saying, "It's my movie, you can't cut it. You can't fucking cut my film, blah, 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 blah." Big argument going on. Then he dies like 4 days later.
Oh, Jesus.
So somebody went in and finished the movie, but I think when they finished the movie, they hid the film.
The argument wasn't about typical studio interference. It was about content that allegedly went far beyond what anyone expected. According to those present, Kubrick had included elements in the final cut that directly referenced real people, real organizations, and real events. The studio executives weren't just concerned about ratings or box office potential, they were terrified about legal and political implications. Some conspiracy theories reveal that the version screened that day contained 20 to 24 minutes of additional footage that has never been seen publicly. This footage allegedly included more explicit connections between the fictional secret society and real elite organizations, along with a third-person narration that would have made these connections undeniable. The internet went crazy, saying that Kubrick's death wasn't a coincidence. It was a response to his refusal to sanitize the film, according to studio demands. The director had spent over 30 years planning this movie, and he wasn't about to let executives destroy his final statement about the nature of power in modern society. Within days of Kubrick's death, editors began altering the film. Roger Avery, who studied the original script, noted multiple changes that fundamentally altered the movie's meaning. The missing narration, altered close-ups, modified note sequences, all designed to obscure the connections Kubrick had worked so hard to establish. The most disturbing change involved the film's ending. According to the original script, the two mysterious men who follow Dr. Harford throughout the movie were supposed to take his daughter at the end, revealing that the elite society had claimed her as payment for his intrusion into their world. This ending would have made the stakes explicit and connected the story directly to broader theories about how elite networks operate. Even though nothing is proven, all evidence points towards a systematic cover-up following Kubrick's death. The fact that he died during the narrow window between completing his final cut and the film's theatrical release created the perfect opportunity for interested parties to sanitize the most dangerous content. The studio's official position was that they were simply finishing the film according to Kubrick's wishes, but industry insiders noted that several key sequences had been altered or removed entirely. The changes weren't about improving the film artistically, they were about protecting powerful individuals who might have been recognizable in Kubrick's original version. Tom Cruise's reaction to Kubrick's death reveals someone who suspected the official story wasn't complete. His disbelief, his hope that somehow it wasn't real, suggests he understood the dangerous territory the film had entered and the potential consequences for those involved. The fact that Cruise has rarely discussed the film in detail since its release, despite it being one of his most challenging and acclaimed performances, adds weight to theories that he was warned to stay quiet about what he witnessed during production and what was removed from the final cut. Some believe that Kubrick's death served as a warning to everyone involved in the production, a demonstration of what happens when Hollywood insiders try to expose the real power structures that control the entertainment industry and broader society. 25 years later, Tom Cruise still can't talk about what really happened during those 400 days. Not because he's forgotten, but because he learned things about Hollywood's power structure that he was never supposed to know. The transformation wasn't just about his performance in the film, it was about his entire understanding of how the entertainment industry really works. Before Eyes Wide Shut, Cruise was Hollywood's golden boy, believing his talent and charisma had earned him his position at the top. After working with Kubrick, he understood that even the biggest stars are just employees in a much larger system. Industry observers noted the dramatic change in Cruise's career trajectory following the film's release. The actor who had balanced blockbuster entertainment with serious dramatic roles suddenly focused almost exclusively on action franchises. The risks he had taken with Eyes Wide Shut and Magnolia disappeared, replaced by safe, controllable projects where studios maintained complete creative authority. Some conspiracy theories reveal that this wasn't a creative choice. It was the result of understanding exactly what happens to actors who try to expose uncomfortable truths about the industry. Kubrick's death served as a powerful lesson about the boundaries that even legendary directors cannot cross with impunity. The internet went crazy, saying that Cruise's silence about the film isn't professional discretion, it's self-preservation. Those who were present during the original screening and witnessed Kubrick's argument with studio executives understood that certain subjects are permanently off-limits, regardless of artistic merit or public interest. The original ending that Avery describes would have made the film's warnings explicit, showing how elite networks maintain control by claiming the children of those who challenge their authority. This wasn't just a plot device. It was Kubrick's final statement about how power really operates in modern society. Even though nothing is proven, all evidence suggests that Cruise witnessed not just the making of a movie, but the demonstration of real power dynamics that extend far beyond Hollywood. The 400-day production gave him unprecedented unprecedented access to Kubrick's research and insider knowledge about elite networks that most people only encounter in conspiracy theories. The psychological pressure Kubrick applied during filming wasn't just about getting authentic performances. It was about showing crews what happens when individuals challenge systems they don't fully understand. Every endless retake, every moment of humiliation, every demonstration of powerlessness was a lesson about how control really works at the highest levels. Lots of fans think that Cruise's subsequent career choices reflect someone who learned to stay within acceptable boundaries. The Mission, Impossible franchise, with its themes of loyalty to shadowy organizations and the dangers of going rogue, can be seen as his way of processing what he discovered about the real world during Eyes Wide Shut.
I love you too. And he said thank you, and I said thank you.
That final exchange between Cruise and Kubrick takes on deeper meaning when viewed as a farewell between two people who knew they had crossed dangerous lines. Kubrick's thank you wasn't just for the performance, it was for Cruise's willingness to participate in an expose that could have destroyed both their careers. The fact that Cruise has built an extremely controlled public image since Eyes Wide Shut, carefully managing every interview and public appearance, suggests someone who learned the importance of staying within prescribed boundaries. His association with Scientology, an organization known for its secrecy and control mechanisms, can be seen as his way of finding protection within an acceptable power structure. Today, Tom Cruise remains one of Hollywood's biggest stars, but he's also one of its most controlled. The spontaneous, risk-taking actor who helicoptered onto Kubrick's property has been replaced by someone who operates within very specific parameters, always aware of lines that cannot be crossed. The real revelation of Eyes Wide Shut wasn't about fictional secret societies. It was about showing Tom Cruise, and through him, the audience, how control actually works in the modern world. Power doesn't operate through dramatic confrontations or obvious threats. It works through extended psychological pressure, financial dependency, and the constant awareness that even the most successful individuals are ultimately expendable. Some conspiracy theories reveal that this is why the film remains so disturbing 25 years later. It wasn't just entertainment, it was education, showing audiences the reality of power structures that prefer to remain hidden. And the fact that its director died days after completing it, while its star has remained largely silent about the experience, only confirms how dangerous that education really was. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.